Latest developments. The United States now has nearly double the amount of coronavirus cases.
And today, Governor Gavin Newsom confirmed that California schools will not reopen by the end of this academic year.
98.8% of our schools have closed down. Don't anticipate schools are going to open up in a week.
When I left this school on March 13th, I had no idea that this would be my last time on campus. Hey, my name's Cami, and I'm a high school senior. Like all of you, my life right now is a lot different than I expected it to be. Today, I would have been at my senior breakfast, tomorrow I'd be spending the night at Disneyland for grad night, and the next morning would have been graduation, receiving my high school diploma and celebrating alongside friends and family. All of that changed 2 months ago when I read the email that told me that there would be no prom, no yearbook signing, no graduation, no goodbyes. Like so many other seniors, I had already lived my very last day of high school without knowing it, and that was heartbreaking. I thought about all the people I'd never see in these halls again, the classmates, the teachers, the friends. It felt like a rug had been pulled out from under me. Juniors, sophomores, and freshmen, while your situation might not be the same as the seniors, I know that you have felt a similar feeling of loss too. Suddenly there's no school days, no spring sports, no performances. We've all suffered some pretty drastic changes in the past few months. I wasn't sure how to move forward, how to make college decisions and plan for the future when there is chaos instead of closure. It left me with a question: how do I find hope when my senior year has been canceled? In Proverbs, King Solomon has something to say about changed plans. He says, "In their hearts, humans plan their course, but the Lord establishes their steps." I definitely had my course planned for this semester. I was stoked for all the senior events with friends, and I definitely thought I'd be walking across a field in a cap and gown to get my diploma. But God knew that my story would be different. God knew that your story would be different. He knew that we'd be teenagers during a crazy time in history. But despite our circumstances, we have a God in heaven who is still establishing our steps. A God who wants what's best for us and created us with an eternal purpose in mind. And while this virus may have the power to change our plans, it does not have the power to change God's purpose for our lives. In the verse, Solomon acknowledges that we plan our course in our hearts. And because we store those expectations in our hearts, it hurts when things don't turn out the way we planned. We feel robbed of control. But maybe there's a blessing in that too, because you and I have only been robbed of the chance to think that we're in control, when really, we're not. A few months ago, we thought hanging out with friends, hugging our family members, and standing within 6 feet of people at the grocery store was guaranteed. We thought going to the beach, to the mall, to each other's houses, and seeing each other at HSM was guaranteed. We thought being able to turn on the TV and watch live sports was guaranteed. Now that all of that is temporarily gone, and our way of life is changing at such a rapid pace, we are reminded that we cannot put our hope in our circumstances. We are also reminded that there is more to life than our circumstances, something deeper. We can see clearer than ever that God is in control, and that His goodness is the source of all hope. Whatever you had planned in your heart for this time in your life, I want you to know that God empathizes with your losses, but He has also given you victory. His purpose for your life was never dependent on a high school graduation. It was never dependent on the goodness of your 2020 year. It is dependent solely on the goodness of our God. Even though you've missed some of the good things on your calendar, you can have hope in knowing that God has good things on His calendar for you. If God is sustaining us through our teenage years in a global pandemic, just think of how much more confident we can be that He will sustain us throughout the rest of our lives. So how do we find hope when senior year gets canceled? We trust that God has a plan. He is establishing our steps and working on our behalf to shape us into the people that He created us to be. And because He's a good God, we can believe and trust that He is leading us in the right direction.